Hey everybody. What I'm going to do now is create a video explaining how to create the data table and the graph for your blood types frequencies. And so I'm going to start from scratch so that you can follow along with me. I'm going to make up the data. It's not going to be exactly what we got this year for your blood types lab. It might be comparable, but won't be the same. And so you're going to follow along with the data that I posted in Classroom and on the whiteboard, and then create your data table and graph according to the data that we got this year. So if you open up your spreadsheet to a blank spreadsheet, we're going to set up the data table. It's going to be similar to the way you'd set up a graph, but instead of having the x-axis, your independent axis, be the going across, the horizontal, you're going to have it be in columns. So the first thing I have is my blood types. All right, so that is going to end up being my x-axis, my horizontal axis. And then we're going to have our class numbers, okay, or number of students. You could title it either way. We're going to have our class frequencies, and we're going to have our national frequencies. Okay. When you're creating a spreadsheet, you might notice that it starts to like cut off here because that title is too long. You have a couple of options. You could highlight your columns and then expand, and as long as you have the columns highlighted, they're all going to expand equally. Another option, just so you know, is that you can highlight these boxes, and you could do format, wrapping, and then wrap, and then it's going to drop it down like that so that they fit. I don't care which way you do this. I'm just going to leave it like this for now. That's up to you, but it's just a little extra thing that you can do when you're making spreadsheets for other classes. So for your blood types, I tend to list them as like O positive, O negative, A positive, so in that pattern. When you look it up, it might not follow that pattern. So you're gonna have to be very careful to make sure that you match it with what is listed in your data table. All right. So for class numbers, I'm gonna make these up. I'm gonna say that there were 10 kids that had O positive, 3 that had O negative. Let's go with 7A positive and 2A negative, 3B positive. Let's say 1B negative, 2A positive, and no AB. All right. I made these up. I don't know exactly what it comes out to. So whenever I'm using the spreadsheet, if I wanted to do the calculation for me rather than sitting here and working on a calculator, just do equals. And in this case, I'm going to do sum, which means that it's going to add them all up. And then I do the open parentheses. I highlight all the cells that I wanted to sum up. I don't even need to hit close parentheses in this case, so I'm not doing anything extra. Hit enter. So it's going to be out of 28. So if I want to figure out what percentage I have, if I just do equals this divided by 28, all right, it's going to ask if I want to autofill. Sure, that's exactly what I want to do. All right. So now it's calculated all of these. These are not percentages, they're hideous looking decimals. I can then highlight C, so I have it like that. Format, number, percent. There it is. So here are my percents. All right. For national frequencies, I can just highlight that automatically. I'm going to do the same thing because I want it in percents. Okay. And then I would look up the percents. And you have to make sure that you're doing United States. I don't want you pulling up, UK or France or India or Uzbekistan or anywhere else. I want you to look up the American frequencies, since that's what we're comparing it to Carver. All right. So I can say O positive is 38, A positive is 34. So again, I go 38, and the way I have it set up, it's not going to be the next one. It's down here now, right? So I have to be careful that I'm putting it into the right one. B positive they have listed next, and that's 9. So I go B positive, and then I have O negative is 7. So I'm filling them all in according to the data that I'm looking up, right? A negative 6. A negative is 6. B negative is 2, 3, and 1. All right, so that's what they have listed for these. Okay, so I now have my data table. All right, what I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to take this bottom right corner. I'm going to ignore this part, all right, because that was just me doing the extras so that I could figure out what my sum is. So I'm going to take this bottom right corner here, and I'm going to highlight all the way up to the top left. It's this entire data table. All right, then I'm going to do insert chart, because they call their graphs charts, and it should pop up. Now, when we do this, we want what they call column charts. That's the equivalent of your bar graphs. If you choose bar graph or bar chart, it's going to come out horizontal, which is fine, but we're used to seeing the vertical column, stick with the vertical column. Okay? I have a problem with this. All right, I'm going to take my camera and I'm going to drag it over here so I can see this better. My problem with this is that this is also including the class numbers. I don't want class numbers included in this. I just want my frequencies. I just want my percents, right? Because when we have our class number, it's 10. That's the equivalent of 1,000%. We're not doing that, right? Like, that's why this is so off. This is why it doesn't look right. So when I come here, I can see in my setup down here in series class numbers, I want to remove that. Now I have my frequencies, apples to apples. Makes a lot more sense, all right? I don't like this title. This title is not accurate at all. And I'm missing vertical axis. So if I go to customize, and then I can go to chart and axis titles, chart title, and then I can change it. What we're doing is we're comparing the CMHS CP biology blood type and national blood type frequencies. So it's going to look something like that. All right, it doesn't have to be the exact title, something comparable to that, because that is what we're doing. Okay, I have my key. They automatically filled it in for me, which is great. They already put in the x-axis based on what I have over here, so as long as it's set up correctly, that's great. The only thing I'm missing now is my vertical. So if I go here, vertical, which is your y-axis, this is going to be percent of population. Population. There we go. All right, now I have this. If you want to go one little extra step, when you're doing this, I can take this, I can highlight these right here, and then I'm going to want to maybe put in my data labels. You don't have to do this. This is just in case you wanted to do it. All right, here's data labels. And if I wanted to stretch it out to make it easier to see, I could stretch it out. You know, so that's more of customizing to what you want. But I now have a data table all set up. I now have a graph all set up. So what I can do is I can click on my graph, copy it, paste it directly into the Google Doc. Same with the data table. It's going to ask if you want to link them. You can absolutely link them. And then that way, if you need to make any changes to this, it'll reflect it in the document. If you don't link them and then you realize you made a mistake, you have to go in and recopy it and repost it into the document. So again, this is not the numbers that I should be seeing in your lab report. The frequencies are, because those are your current frequencies for the nation, but not for the class. So make sure you put in the class numbers according to what I posted. I don't care if you put it in this order or in the order that they actually listed in Statista or whatever else you're using for your source. Just make sure that you're putting it in the right spot so you're comparing one to the other directly. And then it should end up looking like this. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. You can come see me during WIN. You can see me before or after school.